So this week, the Super Bowl of AI came to D.C. for the first time. NVIDIA's CEO had plenty of praise for Donald Trump as the company becomes the first to pass a $5 trillion valuation.
Yeah, $5 trillion with a
Trillion.
T. The Trump administration
Trillion.
has opened its doors to cryptocurrency and AI like no prior administration before it, but that relationship has garnered some criticism as well. For a deeper dive into the president and his relationship to crypto and AI, we're once again joined by Julia Shapiro. She's the Hill's business and tech reporter. Good to see you again.
Hi.
Great to be here.
So talk about Trump's ties to crypto, something that we've seen even going back to the campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think it's sort of been an interesting journey for the president. In his first term, he dismissed crypto as a scam. And then during his campaign last year, we saw that transition start to happen. He really embraced crypto on the campaign trail. And, we saw him launch a crypto company, World Liberty Financial, with his sons and Steve Witkoff. And so since then, we've seen him really embrace it, including since he's taken office. He's been really, the White House has been pushing to get crypto legislation across the finish line. And there's just been a lot. Crypto has been very big for this administration.
Also big is people saying that there are lots of ethical concerns surrounding this because the President of the United States and his family is investing in something this big.
Yeah, there's been a lot of concerns about the ways that Trump and his family could be benefiting at the same time that he is pushing forward some of this legislation or these policies that people say, benefit the crypto industry. So in terms of, you have World Liberty Financial they launched a stable coin, they've continued to expand, and you've seen sort of other instances. Trump launched a meme coin before his inauguration. That's continued to exist, and people have continued to buy into that.
I mean, even the minutia of there was that dinner that he held with, crypto folks, and there was criticism of whether or not the presidential seal should be on the podium that he was speaking at because it was supposed to be him as a private citizen and businessman. Look, according to Reuters, Trump's organization has made over 90% of its income in the first half of the year just from crypto ventures alone, including, as you mentioned, World Liberty tokens. We heard during the last administration, Republicans really hit Biden hard, the Biden crime family, and the president then was doing things to enrich him and his family. James Comer, chair of the House Oversight Committee, was on CNN earlier this week and asked, how is what Trump and his family are doing different than what Joe Biden was accused of doing? Let's listen.
The difference between the way the Trump family is operating and the Biden family is they're admitting they're doing this. The president campaigned as a business guy.
Not going to calm the criticism headed towards the White House when it comes, but President Trump seems like he's just going to continue to move forward. We saw what happened with the Binance founder and the pardon that he got. Does it seem like the president is caring much about Congress sort of pushing back on what he's doing here?
Well, I think that we've seen definitely one side of Congress pushing back. I think Democrats have repeatedly expressed concerns about conflicts of interest in this area, particularly Elizabeth Warren and some other folks. We haven't seen that as much from the Republican side, not as many expressing those concerns. So I think we've seen the White House mention that he is doing this in his personal capacity, as is his family. So they've tried to draw the line there, but I think we're going to continue to see Democrats pushing back on that.
So everybody just continues this big conversation about AI. There is a huge explosion on Wall Street of investment in AI. I mean, it's hard to even buy into some of these stocks, right? And now we're seeing some of these companies begin to lay off people, some big companies. And there have been a lot of reporting recently that AI is forcing white-collar workers out, and it's replacing those jobs, something that people have feared. Can you take all of that information and kind of distill it for people?
Yeah, I think that there is still, while there's been a lot of companies who are sort of preparing and embracing generative AI, it still isn't quite showing up in the jobs data. So we're not seeing folks really using AI, or they're using it in their personal capacity, but it's not really translating into productivity gains yet. So I think that a lot of experts are still saying this isn't quite translating into those job losses that we're seeing. Some folks have attributed it to overhiring from the pandemic still. So we're still sort of waiting to see this come through. I think that there's a lot of concerns that this will greatly impact white-collar workers, but it's not quite there yet, is what a lot of experts are telling me.
Let's talk about the Super Bowl of AI. NVIDIA, again, $5 trillion valuation. It was a big part of President Trump's conversations while in Asia. We know China wants to buy these chips from NVIDIA, but a lot of folks on Congress are concerned about America, even though they're going to get, 15% stakes from any sales NVIDIA makes to China. They're still concerned about what it could mean moving forward in the race for AI and national security.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Trump administration's decision to allow NVIDIA to sell its H20 chips, which are a reduced capacity version of, its more advanced chips, to China, was very controversial. That you saw get pushback from both sides of the aisle. You saw Republicans and Democrats alike voicing concerns that this could help boost China's AI capabilities, and at a moment when we're trying to compete with them to dominate and sort of determine the future of AI.
Why does China need us to provide them chips? Do you have any information there? It would seem odd that we're in this race, yet they need NVIDIA chips to do what they want to do.
Well, NVIDIA's chips are the leading chips right now, so most people around the world are hoping to get their hands on those chips. I think that we have seen China pull back a little bit and urge their companies in China not to buy those as they're trying to build up their own domestic chip capabilities. Huawei is obviously always working to challenge American tech companies on this front. But NVIDIA still is one of the leading tech companies and chip makers. So I think people around the world are still, eager to get their hands on those chips.
So it continues to foment a lot of frenzy and fear.
Yes.
Yeah, both. Thank you so much, Julia.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
And Tech Reporter. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.